Hello, I am Erik Christensen from the NLS Norway Relocation Group, and I want to welcome you to this strategic briefing on what is arguably the most significant yet frequently ignored risk factor in the entire global mobility life cycle, the professional displacement of the accompanying partner. If you are an HR director or a global mobility manager, you are likely accustomed to measuring the success of a relocation by the performance of the employee you have hired. However, in the Norwegian context, the silent partner in the assignment, the spouse or cohabitant, is the one who actually holds the power to make or break your corporate investment. I'm here to discuss the profound financial and operational consequences of spousal career stagnation and why failing to support the professional integration of the family unit is one of the most expensive mistakes a Norwegian employer can make in 2026. When you recruit a high-level specialist or an executive from abroad, you are almost always recruiting someone who is part of a dual career couple. In most cases, the spouse is just as highly educated and professionally ambitious as your primary hire. They have often sacrificed a senior role in a global hub like London, Singapore or New York to facilitate this move to Norway. Yet the moment they land in Oslo or Stavanger, they encounter a labor market that is notoriously difficult to penetrate for outsiders. The Norwegian job market is heavily reliant on unwritten social codes, deep-rooted local networks, and an absolute prioritization of the Norwegian language, even in many internationalized industries. If the spouse begins searching for work solely through public portals like finn.no, they are likely to be met with a wall of silence. In Norway, up to 70% of professional roles are filled through the hidden job market, referrals, networking, and direct outreach that happen within established local circles. For a foreign professional without a local network or an understanding of Norwegian corporate etiquette, this exclusion is devastating. The high price mentioned in our discussion today that we are focused on refers to the multi-layered fallout of this stagnation. First, there is the immediate financial risk of early repatriation. Industry data consistently shows that one reason international assignments fail is not because the employee couldn't do the job, but because the family couldn't settle. If a spouse feels professionally invisible and socially isolated in Norway, the resulting household stress will inevitably bleed into your hire's workplace performance. A distracted executive who is managing a family crisis at home is not providing the ROI you calculated during the recruitment phase. Eventually, the isolation leads to an ultimatum and the family returns home, leaving your company with hundreds of thousands of kroner in sunk costs, from recruitment fees and UDI processing to shipping and temporary housing. Second, we must consider the long-term retention risk. Even if the employee stays for the duration of the initial contract, they are unlikely to renew or transition to a local contract if their partner has been professionally sidelined for 2 years. In a market as tight as Norway's, losing a trained and integrated specialist simply because their spouse couldn't find a path to employment is a massive strategic failure. Furthermore, the psychological impact of professional displacement is severe. The loss of financial independence and professional identity can lead to deep resentment toward the move and, by extension, toward the employer who initiated it. This is compounded by the administrative barriers we have discussed in other sessions, such as the delay in obtaining bank ID or a permanent personnummer, personal number, which further strips the spouse of their autonomy. To mitigate this, forward-thinking HR departments are moving towards a family-centric mobility model. This means providing dedicated expert career coaching for the spouse as part of the relocation package. It involves helping them decode the Norwegian job market, translate their international experience into a format that resonates with local hiring managers, and facilitating introductions to professional networking groups or various chambers of commerce. It also means recognizing that language training is not just a nice to have perk. It is the fundamental key to professional agency in Norway. By investing in the spouse's career integrations, you are not just being generous, you are engaging in a calculated risk mitigation strategy. You are ensuring that your primary hire can focus entirely on their role, knowing that their partner is also thriving and building a future in Norway. At NLS Norway Relocation Group, we help companies bridge this gap through our comprehensive spousal support and selling in services. We understand that a happy family is the foundation of a successful assignment. We can help you design a mobility policy that addresses the needs of the whole family, ensuring that your international talent becomes a long-term asset rather than a short-term expense. If you are seeing high turnover among your expat staff or want to improve your employer branding in the international market, let us help you tackle the challenge of such spousal integration. Please visit our website at nlsnorwayrelocation.no, nlsnorwayrelocation.no, to learn more about how our corporate solutions can protect your talent investments and help your hires truly settle into the Norwegian labor market. Look forward to helping you build a more resilient and successful global workforce.